The City Council will come to order. We'll salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please stay standing, please. And the first item on the agenda is just to take a moment of silence for the men and women who are serving in the armed forces in Iraq and keep them in our prayers and thoughts. And also at this time to have say a little prayer for Natalie, who isn't with us this evening, and hope her family is handling the tragedy. Thank you. Councilor Page has something he'd like to read.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the City Council. There are thousands of American women in uniform, some from Marlborough, who are in harm's way or soon will be. As chairman of the Veterans Committee and a member of the Veterans Council and a Vietnam veteran, I would like to take a moment to let them know that the veterans of Marlborough, the City Council of Marlborough, send our unwavering support and prayers for their success and safe return. Also, in Sunday's Metro West News, there was a story about two of Marlborough's own, Sergeant J.J. Diamond and Lance Corporal Jason Elder, both with the U.S. Marines in Iraq. Their fathers are both Marlborough firefighters. Our thoughts are with them and their families. Friday, there's a rally for the troops between 6 and 7 p.m. at the Common, the John Brown Bell. Please come and join us. Thank you.
Thank you. And number 2,
Minutes of the City Council meeting of March 10th.
Mr. President,
Councilor Rossing.
motion to accept and place on file.
Motion is made and seconded to accept and place on file. All those in favor? All those opposed? Carries. Item number 3.
Now it's time for the public hearing scheduled on the application of Mass Electric and New England Verizon for the joint location of one pole on Concord Road.
Like all public hearings, we'll go through 4 stages. Public speaking in favor, questions from the public speaking in opposition, and questions from the City Council. Is there somebody here for to represent the New England Electric or Verizon? No? Okay.
Mr. President, since they're not here, motion to put on next agenda.
Motion is made and seconded to put this public hearing on the next agenda. All those in favor? All those opposed? Carries. Item number 4.
Communication from the mayor. I am writing to provide an update on the potential purchasing of the St. Mark's Boathouse. I have received confirmation from St. Mark's heads of school, Tony and Elsa Hill, that they would be willing to sell this 1.25-acre property to the City of Marlborough for $400,000. The payment schedule would require the city to pay $200,000 in calendar year 2003, with additional installments of $100,000 plus 5% interest in 2004 and 2005. First payment in 2003, $200,000. Second payment 2004, $100,000 plus $5,000. Third payment 2005, $100,000 plus $5,000. The initial payment of $200,000 may be taken from the open space account. I would anticipate subsequent payments being made out of future budgets or from mitigation of existing negotiations. At this time, the state has notified me that they will not be able to assist in the purchasing of the boathouse, though it is my intention to remain in contact with them should their position on this matter change. I appreciate your attention to this proposal. Should you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to contact Priscilla Ryder or myself. Sincerely, William J. Morrow, Jr., Mayor.
Mr. President,
Clancy.
I'm going to be in support of this motion. This is long anticipated and long needed public access, boat access to for the residents of the City of Marlborough. Taking the money from the open space account, there's presently about $747,000 in that account, and with other anticipated revenues coming in. We are also are requesting that the town of Hudson put place on their warrant or their town meeting agenda a possibility of supporting their 15% of the total cost of this. So with all of the money already in the open space account, I will be in support of this and would like to refer it to the Finance Committee.
Motion is made and seconded that this letter be sent to the Finance Committee. All those in favor? All those opposed? Carries. Item number 5.
Communication from the mayor. I am writing to reappoint with your approval the following members to the Commission on Disabilities: John Usenis, Pat Winsky, and Ian Ryan. These appointments are for 3 years and would expire in 2006. I appreciate your attention to this matter. If you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to contact me. Thank you, William J. Morrow, Jr., Mayor.
Councilor Pope.
Please refer to Personnel.
Motion is made and seconded to refer these 3 names to personnel. All those in favor? All those opposed? Carries. Item number 6.
Communication from the mayor. I am writing to reappoint with your approval the following members to the Recreation Commission: Robert Lazarus and Carl Vigent. These appointments are for 5 years and would expire the first Monday in May 2008. I appreciate your attention to this matter. If you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to contact me. Thank you,
Councilor Pope.
William Morrow, Mayor.
Please refer to Personnel.
Motion is made and seconded to refer to personnel. All those in favor? All those opposed? Carries. Item number 7.
Communication from the mayor. I am writing to reappoint with your approval the following members to the Council on Aging: Dorothy Hodgson, Francis Bud Foley, and Kathleen McFarland. Further, I wish to appoint the following individuals to the Council on Aging to fill vacancies in this board: Rita Connors and Dennis Kennedy. Enclosed, please find a letter from Terry Sloat, Executive Director of the Council on Aging, relative to these latest appointments. These appointments are for 4 years and would expire May 1st, 2007. I appreciate your attention to this matter. If you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to contact me. Thank you, William J. Morrow, Jr., Mayor.
Please refer to Personnel.
Motion is made and seconded to refer these names to personnel. All those in favor? All those opposed? Carries. Item number 8.
Communication from the mayor. I would like to reappoint with your approval Joseph Mono of 58 East Dudley Street, Marlborough, as a member of the Registrar of Voters. This is a 3-year appointment and will expire on May 1st, 2006. I appreciate your attention to this appointment. If you have any questions or concerns on this matter, please feel free to contact me. Sincerely, William J. Morrow, Jr., Mayor.
Please refer to Personnel.
Motion is made and seconded to refer to personnel. All those in favor? All those opposed? Carries. Item number 9.
Communication from the mayor. I would like to appoint with your approval the following individuals to the Conservation Commission: Alan White and Lawrence Roy. These appointments are for 3 years and would expire March 5th, 2006. I appreciate your attention to this appointment. If you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to contact me. Sincerely, William J. Morrow, Jr., Mayor.
Councilor Pope.
Please refer to Personnel.
Motion is made and seconded to refer to personnel. All those in favor? All those opposed? Carries. Item number 10.
Communication from the mayor. I am writing to appoint with your approval Heidi Heilman of 78 Second Road in Marlborough to the Youth Commission. This appointment would be for 3 years and would expire in 2006. This appointment would also serve to fill one of the 2 existing vacancies on the Youth Commission. In addition, I would like to withdraw the request to appoint Shannon Lavature to the Youth Commission. I submitted Ms. Lavature's name to the council earlier this year. However, since that time, she has asked to have her name removed from consideration. I appreciate your attention to these matters. If you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to call me. Sincerely, William J. Morrow, Jr., Mayor.
Councilor Pope.
Please refer to Personnel.
Motion is made and seconded to refer to personnel. All those in favor? All those opposed? Carries. Number 11.
Communication from the mayor. I am writing to reappoint with your approval the following members to the Arts Lottery Council: Grace Lyons, Marlene Manel, George Wapham, and William Cox. These appointments are for 2 years and would expire May 1st, 2005. I appreciate your attention to this matter. If you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to contact me. Thank you, William J. Morrow, Jr., Mayor.
Councilor Pope.
Please refer to Personnel.
Motion is made and seconded to refer to personnel. All those in favor? All those opposed? Carries.
Spring in that chair.
Item number 12.
Communication from the city clerk. Saddened as we all are at the untimely passing of Councilor Natalie Toll, plans must be put in place to fill that seat in order that the constituents of Ward 7 continue to receive their rightful representation. I am attaching an election schedule for special election in order to accomplish this. As you can see, the first step in any election schedule is the last day to obtain nomination papers, which in this instance would be April 17th, followed by a preliminary election on June 10th and the special municipal election on July 8th, 2003. The schedule as presented is in compliance with all state election laws. In order to accomplish this, the attached election call must be approved at tonight's April 7th City Council meeting. I have also estimated as near as possible the cost for this process, including a preliminary election, which follows. The ballot printing at $1,400, programming the memory packs at $800, poll workers at approximately $2,400, constables $600, school janitors $500. The itemized expenses do not include cost of advertising, for which there are funds in the current advertising budget. The election department budget currently contains $4,712.44 to be applied to this cost, which could run to $6,000. A transfer would be required to cover the difference. To sum up, the actions necessary to be taken are as follows: approval of the election call based on the calendar as presented, and a transfer of funds necessary to carry out the special election. As always, I am available to answer any questions that may arise.
Mr. President.
Yeah, Counsel Yerkes.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion tonight that the Marlborough City Council hereby requests that the State Senate and the state representatives hereby, on behalf of the City of Marlborough, file a home rule petition, whereas the requirements of the Marlborough City Code, Section 59, Section A, and it relates to the election of a ward councilor be vacated, and that a home rule petition be, would allow the City Council to appoint by a majority vote, a successor to this vacancy. Thank you, Mr. President.
Any comments on Counsel Yerkes' request? Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor? All those in favor, please stand up. All those opposed? Motion carries. Counsel Yerkes, Counsel Vision.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to make a comment on the letter that was read from the clerk, that I don't want there to be any misunderstanding out there. The Ward 7 people can call any one of the councilors here, the ward councilors, the at-large councilors. I want them to feel free. I'm sure any councilor here will accept calls from them, and for the people out there, feel comfortable to call any one of us for any of your ward or citywide issues. Thank you, Mr. President.
Counsel Yerkes.
Yes, to follow up on that, I know most of you realize I don't go to Home Depot that often, but I was there last week, and I had a couple from Ward 7 give me a problem, which I'm trying to resolve. Also, I received already a phone call from someone in Ward 7 about an issue which I resolved. So some of the citizens do know that the at-large councils are available, and Councilor Vigil just reiterated that as any ward councilor. So they will be represented. Thank you, Mr. President.
Counsel Watson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd ask if the letter that goes to Senator Rezor and State Rep. Leduc, have them turn that around as quickly as possible, so maybe by next meeting, if that process doesn't look like it's going to work out, that we can set an election date and go on with the Ward 7 elections. I mean, if it works out, great. If not, so we can act in time to have an election before the November elections. Thank you.
Clerk's noted that. Okay, thank you. Any other comments? Yes, Counsel Pope.
I spoke with President Hunt this evening before the meeting started, Councilor Ossing, and I did contact the state today to find out if there's a possibility that during our regular election cycle, if the Ward 7 councilor could be inaugurated as soon as that election takes place, so that they are sitting in the council chambers to set the tax rate. I was unable to receive an answer from them today, but they said that they would look into it and get back to us.
Thank you, Counselor. Item number 14? Excuse me, item number 13.
Communication from the procurement officer regarding notice of award lease of space at Jericho Hill. Pursuant to a request for proposals for telecommunications equipment at the top of Jericho Hill on municipal property, separate from the recreational land, the city received one proposal from Industrial Communications for a monopole with external antennae. The $20,400 annual price would increase 3% a year, and with 10% co-location fees, would give the city more than $250,000 over a 10-year period. For your review, I have provided a copy of the relevant portions of the proposal for all councilors. I am requesting your approval to issue a notice of award, allowing the company to negotiate a lease for the placement of a telecommunications tower or towers utilizing stealth technology such as flagpoles. Any award is subject to approval of all necessary permits, licenses, and related authorizations, including a special permit from the City Council, site plan approval, and a building permit. The company would have to apply for a special permit within 30 days from the notice of award. Thank you for your consideration. Sincerely yours, Ronald Guest.
Please refer to wireless communication.
Motion is made and seconded to refer this to the Wireless Communications. All those in favor? All those opposed? Carries. Item number 14.
Communication from the Chief Procurement Officer regarding notice of award lease of space at the Easterly Treatment Plant. After a review of the 3 proposals for telecommunications equipment at the Easterly Treatment Plant described in my letter to you of February 20th, 2003, and after conferring with Councilor Robbie Katz, Commissioner Ronald Lafreniere, and City Solicitor James Golden, I am requesting your approval to issue a notice of award to Verizon Wireless, allowing the company to negotiate a lease for the placement of a telecommunications tower or towers utilizing stealth technology, such as flagpoles. Verizon Wireless is offering $26,000 a year with 3% annual increases and 15% co-location payments. Assuming 2 co-locators, this will produce income to the city of more than $366,000 over the next 10 years. For your review, I have provided a copy of the relevant portions of the proposal for all councilors. The absence of specific plans reflects Verizon's willingness to custom build at the site. Any award is subject to approval of all necessary permits, licenses, and related authorizations, including a special permit from the City Council, site plan approval, and a building permit. The company would have to apply for a special permit within 30 days from the notice of award. Thank you for consideration. Sincerely yours, Ronald Guest, Chief Procurement Officer.
Councilor Pope.
Motion to approve the notice of award.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the notice of award. All those in favor? All those opposed? Carries.
15.
Item number 15.
Communication from the Planning Board. At its meeting on Monday, March 10th, 2003, the Planning Board took the following action. On a motion by Mr. Johnson, seconded by Mr. Hodge, it was duly voted to recommend the acceptance of City Council Order 039890, request to change Assessors Map 90, Parcel 1A, currently zoned Residence A3, to limited industrial. It was the board's feeling that this was not inconsistent with the surrounding area. Sincerely, Barbara L. Fenby, Chairperson.
Councilor Noraki.
Mr. President, accept and place on file.
Motion is made and seconded to accept and place on file. All those in favor? All those opposed? It carries.
Oh, do you want me to read it in?
Just say you got it.
Okay.
Letter in favor. That's all.
Agenda item 15 also included a communication from Frederick Myers of 125
President.
Sandini Road.
Suspend that reading and place that on file also.
Motion is made and seconded to suspend the reading and accept the letter and place it on file. All those in favor? All those opposed? Carries. Item number 16.
Is a communication from Eugene Carlo, of Superintendent Director of Assabet Valley. House 1 has been released by the governor. Although it is early in the process where the House and the Senate have not come forward with budget recommendations, the cause and effect of House 1 are as follows. Assabet Valley Regional Vocational School District Chapter 78 has been reduced from $3,051,938 to $2,117,203, a loss of $934,735, or 30.6%. In addition, it is anticipated that because charter schools are to receive transportation aid and because of budget cuts in the regional transportation line, regional schools will receive 50% aid where statute indicates 100%. To complicate the financial shortfalls one step greater, the governor's proposal shows Assabet Chapter 70 aid proportionately going back to the communities. The 30-year history at the school shows we have used the total amount to lower the budget. Now, along with our normal assessment, we will be adding the proportionate Chapter 70 aid. The breakdown is as follows. Berlin, $36,508, Hudson, $624,575, Marlboro, $1,036,120, Maynard, $188,834, Northborough, $138,931, Southborough, $27,921, Westborough, $64,314, for a total of $2,117,203. I have given my word, and will stand by it, that the assessment from fiscal year '03 to fiscal year '04 will not increase by more than 2%, regardless of what happens with the House and Senate playing a role. I am enclosing 2 assessment options for your planning purposes. It might be prudent to add each option as a separate warrant article. In the event that brings change, you could drop one and use the other. The financial loss of Chapter 78, along with the reduction in regional transportation aid, will be assumed in total by the school district. I believe the number is extremely high, especially after the many political announcements that cuts would be no higher than 20%. In any event, I have indicated that I would not pass on the reduction in aid to the communities in fiscal '04. I send a caution flag that I believe the cities and towns should be working towards aid going directly back to the regions. I see this in the short and long term as having many negative effects for our communities. If you have any comments or concerns, please do not hesitate to contact me. Thank you in advance. Sincerely, Eugene F. Carlo, Superintendent.
Did you?
Thank you, Mr. President. Please refer to the Finance Committee. I'm sure they already have it, but refer it to the mayor and the controller also.
Motion is made and seconded to refer this to the Finance Committee and also to the mayor and to the controller. All those in favor? All those opposed? Carries.
Mr. President, please let the record show I abstain from voting.
Yes, Councilor Naraki abstained. Thank you. Item number 17.
Mr. President,
Yes, Councilor.
motion to suspend the reading and send to Jim Duggan to have him look at it and respond. It has to do with potential grants in the Department of Housing and Community Development.
Motion's been made and seconded to suspend the reading and to send this up to Mr. Duggan. All those in favor? All those opposed? Carries. 18.
Is a communication from Attorney James Betchell regarding Employment Options, Inc. at 153 Mechanic Street.
Mr. President,
Yes.
a recommendation to suspend the reading and refer this to Urban Affairs.
Motion is made and seconded to suspend the reading and to send this...
Point of order, Mr. President.
Yes.
I'd just like to comment on this. I was on the council when this went through. One of the conditions was when and if it was sold, it would be reduced from 6 units to 4. From reading their letter to us, they want to transfer the 6 units to a new designee and to leave it as 6 units and not to have that reduction going to 4 when and if they sell it. So I do not consider that minor, since that was a sticking point for a lot of the neighbors at that time, as well as the ward councilor at that point in time. So I just would like the Urban Affairs to realize that, in my opinion, this is not a minor change, but a major change, and you should look at the history of the reasons why, in case I don't make that meeting. Thank you, Mr. President.
President?
Yes, Councilor.
Thank you, Mr. President. I had talked to the people down at Employment Options, and my understanding, and I think we have clarification after talking to the solicitor, and this has been approved already by the zoning board and their change to it. This is basically putting it in a real estate entity owned by the same people. There's virtually no change in this. It's like taking your house and putting it into a real estate trust, not a revocable trust, an irrevocable trust, but a revocable trust. It's the same people. We're talking about the same thing here. I don't know what clarification is needed for the councilors. I'm hoping we can get this done as quick as possible. I was hoping we could get it done tonight. Obviously, there's some questions that need to be answered, but I'm really hoping we can get this through pretty quickly and get those done. Thank you, Mr. President.
Councilor Naraki.
Mr. President, that's exactly why I referred it to Urban Affairs. We can
Motion is
discuss
made
it.
and
Thank you.
seconded to refer this to Urban Affairs. All those in favor? All those opposed? Carries.
19.
Item number 19.
Is a communication from ConocoPhillips regarding the application for renewal of the exemption regarding hours of operations of the gasoline station. ConocoPhillips Company, owner of a certain automobile service station located at 410 Lakeside Ave, hereby requests an extension of its present exemption under the provisions of City Code Chapter 112, Section 2, allowing it to operate after 11 p.m. and before 6 a.m. Please refer this matter to the appropriate committee for the City Council agenda. It is my understanding that no public hearing is required by the City Code. Sincerely, Janice Ripley.
President?
Yeah, Counselor?
I believe this really should go to Urban Affairs. It's a change in the special permit for this particular petitioner.
I agree with that,
It
yeah.
changes the hours of operation.
They already have one.
It's not to change the hours of operation.
It is a change in hours.
It says the hours of operation.
It's to
continue
renew the change.
exemption they already have to
They already
operate.
they already had that change approved, and they just want to renew it. They have to come back
That's not
every
what it
year for
says.
the renewal of that change.
It does not say that.
It says
an
extension of
extension.
present exemption. Renewal of exemption.
Mr. President?
We'll send it to Public Services, take a look at it there, and then get the answer, the
This may
questions
need
answered.
this doesn't need,
No,
it's questionable on a public hearing.
Yeah, Mr. President?
Yeah.
no.
If they're maintaining the same hours, I assume it doesn't, but it says the code says any change to the hours of operation requires a public hearing. So I guess I would say, let Councilor Evangelist handle it in public service. If it's determined that it does require a public hearing because they are changing the hours, we can then schedule a
That's fine.
public hearing.
Okay, motion is made and seconded to refer to public.
Very good, thank you.
If you read it.
All those in favor? All those opposed? Carries. Item number 20.
Is an application for the fuel storage renewal license of Amarada Hess at 770 Boston Post Road.
Motion made to refer to Public Services.
Motion is made and seconded to refer to public services. All those in favor? All those opposed? Carries. Number 21.
Is an application for a livery license from Robert Ercolani Jr. for American Town Car Service.
Motion made to refer to Public Services.
Motion is made and seconded to refer to public services. All those in favor? All those opposed? Carries. Number 22.
Communication from Attorney Bergeron regarding the special permit application of Constantine Scrivanos for drive-through window. My client, Constantine Scrivanos, hereby requests that he be allowed to withdraw the above-referenced application without prejudice.
Mr. President?
Yes, Counselor.
I guess I'm looking for clarification. Since we have several Dunkin' Donut drive-throughs through, and this doesn't say which one, are we withdrawing all of them, or is there a particular one?
279
279.
Yeah, but it doesn't say that on the letter.
Maple, it says it on the front.
The letter doesn't say that.
Maple Street.
All right, as long as it's clarified that it is for Maple Street.
Motion has been made and seconded to approve the withdrawal. All those in favor? All those opposed? Carries. Item 23.
Is an application for special permit by Attorney Bergeron for Metro Park Corp. to build and maintain a retirement community on several parcels on Fitchburg Street.
Is-
This needs a public
Karen.
hearing, and we will set the date as May 5th.
Refer to Urban Affairs,
And
please.
the motion is made to refer to Urban Affairs also. All those in favor? All those opposed? Carries. 24.
Application for a livery license of Gonella Graham.
Motion made to refer to Public Services.
Motion is made and seconded to refer to public services. All those in favor? All those opposed? Carries. 25.
Application for fuel storage license renewal of Evergreen Solar at 259 Cedar Hill.
Motion made to refer to Public Services, please.
Made and seconded and referred to public services. All those in favor? All those opposed? Carries. Item 26.
Is a notice from Anderson and Krieger of Cambridge for a notice of a project change request for a Phase 1 waiver on site of Mill Estates.
Mr. President,
Yes, Counselor.
motion to suspend the reading and send to the DPW and Conservation Officer for review.
Motion is made and seconded to suspend the reading and send it to the Conservation Officer, and who else, Mike?
DPW.
The DPW to review. All those in favor? All those opposed? Carries. Item 27.
Is a Metro West Community Healthcare Foundation of Framingham regarding an important grant announcement.
Again, Mr. Mayor, thinking ahead.
Mr.
Mr. President,
Yes.
motion to suspend and send that to the mayor and have him send it to the applicable department heads to see if there are any grant opportunities available.
Motion is made and seconded to accept and send this to the mayor's office. All those in favor? All those opposed? Carries. 28.
Is an information update from National Grid to the abutters of their 115 kilovolt transmission line project.
Counselor Pope.
Please accept and place on file.
Motion is made and seconded to accept and place on file. All those in favor? All those opposed? Carries. 29.
Yeah, Mr. President, Please accept and place on file the following agenda items. The Beacon, April 2003. Number 30, the minutes of the Planning Board, February 24, 2003. Number 31, minutes Site Plan Review Committee, March 4, 2003. The minutes, number 32, the minutes of the Zoning Board of Appeals, March 11th, April 1st, 2003. Number 33, minutes of the School Committee, February 11th, 15th, 25th, and March 11th, 2003. Item 34, the minutes of the Traffic Commission, February 25th and March 26th, 2003. And last but not least, number 35, the minutes of the Board of Assessors, March 24th, 2003.
Motion is made and seconded to accept items 29 through 35. All those in favor? All those opposed? Carries. 36.
Mr. President, make a motion that we send these to legal.
Motion is made and seconded that the claims go to the legal department. All those in favor? All those opposed? Carries. Reports of committee. Councilor Yerkes.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. It seems so long ago, but Operations Oversight met 3 or 4 times, and on order number 029814, it was recommended to send to the full council that there be no closing on downtown Main Street on Saturdays. That vote was 3-0. On order number 039943, in this regard to the lease on Bigelow School, we made a vote of 3-0 to recommend that it not only be a 1-year lease, but to change the RFP to include 4 one-year renewable leases, subject to the annual review of the City Council and School Committee based on the school department's need for space. And Mr. Galoni would like to move forward with this, go back to the school committee since it is a change in the RFP, and I'm looking for a suspension on the rules and the council to vote on this tonight.
Thank you. Any other reports, committee? Councilor Evangelist.
Thank you, Mr. President. There is a public services meeting that's going to take place next Wednesday at 6 o'clock. What is that date? I have the wrong calendar here. We're going to be taking up the animal ordinance, and I would like the public to know the individuals that showed up at the last meeting. They're very helpful. There was a number of them there that will help be able to digest the information. We've got a new ordinance that was put together by the Public Services Committee, and we will be taking that up and picking that apart and adding or deleting from that at the request of the committee, along with some input from the public. And that's going to be Wednesday the 16th here at 6 o'clock. Last Monday, Public Services met. We took up 3 items. One item was a secondhand dealer's license for Robert Smith doing business as Classic Vinyl. He's at 294 Mechanic Street. We approved that 3-0. We took up order number, where is the number on this one? We took up a application for Exxon Mobil Corporation for a fuel storage license at 656 Boston Post Road. That's across from the new Home Depot, that new project that's going up, and that was approved 3-0. The third item that we took up was an application for Mass Bay Limousine for a license to operate the shuttle service on the streets of Marlborough. We approved that 2-0. An application for Marlborough Country Club for a fuel storage license for 1,000 gallons, and we approved that 2-0. And that took care of those approvals that evening. Thank you.
Any other reports of committee?
Mr. President,
Councilor Norton.
Urban Affairs met on Monday, March 31st, and reviewed several orders. Order 9913, which was a communication from the mayor concerning an RFP for the driving range. The committee approved 5-0, a 2-year lease with a renewal of up to 5 years. On order 9885, the committee recommended 5-0 that a letter be sent to the state informing that the city is not interested in the purchase of the Register of Motor Vehicles property at this time. I would also at this time like to ask for a suspension of the rules concerning order 9875. This is the application for a special permit for the drive-through located at the former Bickford's. The Urban Affairs Committee has requested several modifications to the plan, and they are going to need some time to get those to us. So I'd like a suspension of the rules to extend the deadline for that special permit this evening.
Thank you. Any other reports of committee?
Mr. President,
Councilor Katz.
I'd just like to announce on Wednesday, April the 23rd at 6:30, the Public Works Committee will have a meeting to review the file.
Thank you. Item number 37. Okay, let's do the suspensions. We'll get them out of the way. Councilor, this is, all those in favor of suspending the rules on Councilor Yurkis' order? All those in favor? All those opposed?
Order 9943 regarding legislation to authorize an issuance of an RFP to lease the Bigelow School. Recommendation of Operations and Oversight is to recommend the approval of the requested legislation to authorize the lease of the Bigelow School for lease or for rent for a period of 1 year from July 1st, 2003 to June 30th, 2004. It is further recommended that the RFP be amended to include language for 4 one-year renewals, subject to annual review by the City Council and School Committee, based on the school department's need for space.
Motion is made and seconded to approve. All those in favor? All those opposed? That carries. And do you have the other one?
And the other one is Councilor Naraki's request for an extension, but I have no date.
Extend the date until May 20th, 2003.
Councilor Nawaki is requesting to suspend the rules. All those in favor of suspending the rules? All those opposed? Want to just read the order, Councilor?
Just a request for an extension for Order 9875. Says, my client, East Main Street Donuts Incorporated, requests that the deadline for action on its application for a special permit for a drive-through window at 330 Boston Post Road be extended to May 20, 2003.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the request. All those in favor? All those opposed? Carries. Item number 37.
Order that the Commissioner of Public Works identify all existing private ways in the city of Marlborough, which, in his opinion, should be considered for acceptance as public ways. Further, that the DPW Commissioner provide the Mayor and City Council with a list of said ways on or before April 23, 2003. Further ordered that this matter be referred to the Public Works Committee, submitted by Councilors Katz and Hunt.
Councilor Katz.
Thank you, Mr. President. Based on several conversations I had over a long period of time with the DPW and several other people, it became clear that there's a number of questions that constantly arise with the backlog of streets going from private to public. Well, I wanted to get a handle on those questions and see what we can do to help move things along a little bit quicker, with the main goal of making sure that we get our fair share of Chapter 90 money from the state. As you know, every mile that we have an approved street, we get additional dollars out of the state. So we might be leaving some money on the table. But before I do that, I want to make sure that there's a cross-reward analysis that's done as it takes to take a look at, you know, what are the legal costs of doing some of this? What are some of the takings and things of that nature? So I want to make sure that we look at the costs before we accept these streets and hopefully get some additional Chapter 90 money. So that's what's going to be looked at in the Public Works Committee as it relates to perhaps moving some of these existing private ways to public ways. And again, with the goal being to capture some additional dollars for the city.
Thank you, Mr. President. If you would, Council, while it's in committee, someone brought me their tax stuff last week and gave me their real estate taxes, and then handed me a bill because they were on a private road on the city. And what the city does is they back bill them for the plowing and the maintenance of the streets. And if these aren't accepted streets, maybe it's something the Commissioner would like to look into is, you know, if we're going up plowing these streets or picking up the trash on those streets when they're not bringing them down, is that something we want to take a look at? Other communities are doing it. Maybe it's something that, I don't know if we're talking a lot of money or a little money or what we're talking about, but I'd like to ask if the committee would take a peek at that also.
Thank you.
Mr. President.
Yes, Councilor.
Thank you. I would just like to, when I see the list that the Commissioner is asking us to approve to see the criteria and where each one of these streets would fall under. So it's not subjective, it's objective. So when we have a request by someone else, and we can easily say it does not fall in the criteria. So that way, you know, the political part is removed, and it's really an objective way of either accepting or rejecting these streets, and we have a reason why. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Motion's made and seconded to send this to
Public Works.
Public Works. All those in favor? All those opposed? Carries. Item number 38.
Ordered that the mayor be requested to propose weigh-in means to financially assist city employees called to active duty during the war with Iraq, submitted by Councilor Page.
Councilor Page. Yes.
President, just some justification for this request. There is a vast difference between a military paycheck and a city paycheck. In many cases, as much as $15,000 to $20,000. I would not want to see a city employee's family suffer financially while the employee is serving their country during this war with Iraq. A person called to active duty should not have to worry if they will lose their home or that their family is financially secure. I would recommend a set amount of $1,000 per month or the difference in pay for the duration of the employees on active duty during the war with Iraq. Thank you.
You want to send this to the mayor, Councilor?
Yes, please.
Anybody have any? Yeah, Councilor Vitchell.
I applaud what Councilor Page is doing on this. I think we do need to, if we're going to go forward with this, we need to set some guidelines because it's an extraordinary type of thing we're going through right now, and something should be put in place now. It's a little after the fact, but something should be put in place. But I think maybe this is one of those things that maybe the Mayor's Charities Fund should be looked at for something like this. The City Councilor's charity funds, we don't have much in it, but at least we could put it toward a purpose that's useful, as opposed to just something to get our name on a brochure, as we most usually do. The other one is, I think the union heads that represent these members should also stand up to the plate and try to help these people out. These people are helping out the entire city, and I think we should do our part in kind of kicking some money in rather than dumping it back to the taxpayers again. Criteria needs to be set up, and we need to tap some outside sources this time, maybe, and fulfill Councilor Page's request. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Motion's been made and seconded to refer this to the mayor. All those in favor? All those opposed? Carries. We have a couple of suspensions from the mayor. All those, couple of letters. All those in favor of suspending the rules? All those opposed? It carries.
Communication from the mayor. Due to the untimely death of City Councilor Natalie Toll, the scheduled meetings of the Personnel Committee in City Council that would have reviewed my nomination of Deborah Pulio as city collector were postponed. As the city cannot function without a collector, I have, pursuant to Chapter 61A of, Section 61A of Chapter 41 of the General Laws, appointed Deborah Pulio as temporary city collector effective April 3rd, 2003. This appointment is valid for a maximum period of 60 days, during which time I assume the council will have completed its review of my nomination. Sincerely yours, William J. Morrow, Jr., Mayor.
Councilor Pope.
I have no problem with this. I did just want to state publicly, as the mayor knows, because I have spoken with him, the meeting for this appointment was canceled due to the fact of the controversy over people that are being appointed by the mayor that aren't showing up at Personnel Committee and are representing themselves as advocates for the city. We had somebody who was out in the newspaper who hadn't been appointed yet. She wasn't remaining unreappointed. She had never been put on the committee and was out soliciting donations for the city as a representative of the city. If the mayor wants the Personnel Committee to rubber stamp his approvals, he should bypass us altogether, or else he should ask his people to please come to Personnel. We are very good about having several meetings for folks to come, and they don't come. That's the reason why that meeting was canceled, because I wanted you to understand our point that there is no point in having us if people aren't going to adhere to it. And unfortunately, the only time you can make your point known is when you have a big appointment in your committee. So I have no problem with her being appointed for 60 days, and we will have a Personnel Committee to get her approved correctly, but that was the reason why. Thank you.
Motion's been made and seconded to accept the mayor's letter. All those in favor? All those opposed? That carries.
And the second communication is from James Johnson, the Director of Accounts at the State DOR. Based upon the unaudited balance sheet submitted by the community, I hereby certify that the amount of available funds of free cash as of July 1st, 2002 for the City of Marlborough is a deficit of $3,062,196. This certification is in accordance with the provisions of the Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 59, Section 23, as amended.
Mr. President, request a suspension to allow the mayor and the controller to speak on the issue.
Yes. Request suspension of the rules so Mr. Abel and the mayor can speak. All those in favor? All those opposed? Carries. Thank you.
Mr. President, I'd like to request a suspension of the rules to request information for the city solicitor concerning rent control.
Okay, hang on just a second.
Okay.
Councilors, as you, the clerk just read, we did get notified about a week ago that we are in a deficit mode for free cash this particular fiscal year. Reasons being, and I'm sure Tom will get into a little bit more, but when we start going through the budget process, like in this season right now in April, and this is looking back in '02, Tom reviews what he has to go out and borrow, what's been spent on the capital projects at that time, and how much we're going to have to borrow. Last year, in April of '02, when he went into the VAC system to check it out, there was a number of $1.7 million that needed to be bonded. Tom went out and bonded that amount of money at that time. In June of '02, or just beyond June '02, when we started looking at the closing of the books, Barbara Martell found in the VACs also that we actually needed somewhere around $4 million to go out and bond. It was too late to go out and do the bonding because we were closing the books in June and July for the fiscal year. So that meant that we were in a deficit mode for free cash, not borrowing enough money to pay for the capital. We had the money in-house, in the accounts, but we didn't go out and borrow it. So we went and closed the books. We went to the Division of Local Accounts. They came back and said, you should have borrowed the 4.3. We want to borrow 1.7. So it left us a deficit amount of money. And comes next year, when we go out and borrow the full $4.3 million, we'll actually have $1.3 million in free cash come hopefully early fall next year when we close the books. Talking to Tom and Barbara, because of the new system that's in place with Munis, they feel very confident that we should have the books closed and into the state to get our free cash certification somewhere in September, October range, which would help us out immensely before we go into the tax levy situation. So that's the reason why. What does that mean? It means we have no free cash for any closing of the books this year for overrun accounts, deficit spending within different departments. The only money we do have in the bank, we have stabilization money. As you all know, it takes 8 votes to take anything transfers out of stabilization. It doesn't affect our bonding capacity, stance or rating. We still have a good rating, and the state understands that. Tom can explain a little bit more. He did speak to the local services personally. He wrote letters to them also, and they don't have any particular concern with what's happening financially in the city of Marlborough. We're still very stable. It's just a changing the system from the VACs into the Munis. It was oversighted, and we fell in a deficit mode. Tom, you want to?
Actually, I think you summed it up pretty well, Mr. Mayor. One of the things that everybody should understand is this deficit is not to be made up by taxpayers. It doesn't have to be made up by taxpayers. It's not a deficit at nature. The deficit is only associated with what we spent on capital projects. The city council and the mayor have already approved the bonds in order to borrow the money. All I have to do is go out and borrow $4.3 million, and the deficit's gone. So no one should get excited about having taxes go up associated with this particular deficit. The deficit occurs because of the way the state closes their books, like we close ours. Everything stops on June 30th. Whatever you have in your hands on June 30th is what the state counts. If we borrowed the money on July 1st, we still would have had the deficit. And it's one of the unique things about Massachusetts finances that I find amazing, but it's part of the state law. DLS, Department of Local Services, I wrote them a letter and requested that they not apply this deficit to our free cash. They indicated that because it is part of the state law, they had to, and therefore that's the reason why they took the 4.3 from our free cash. Are there any questions anyone has?
Mr. President.
Yes, Councilor.
If I may lead off. In June, you found that you, in the old VAX, you should have bonded $4 million, correct? That's what the mayor said.
In January.
In January? Well, where'd the other 300,000 come from?
3 million?
3 million. No, 4.3 million.
I
You said
bonded
4 million.
I bonded 1.7. It was 4.3 that was not bonded.
4.3.
Could have been bonded.
In April, it was 1.7 million.
Correct.
Then in June, the mayor said, or July, you found that you should have bonded 4 million total.
It's actually found that out in January.
I found that out in January, Councilor.
January. I wrote down June, late July, so we'll change that to January. A total of 4 million.
Right.
Now you're saying you're going to bond $4.3 million. That's the figure that the mayor said.
Okay.
So I'm asking, is that correct? Are you going to bond $4 million or $4.3 million?
Actually, Councilor, this year we're going to borrow $10 million. That's this year. 4.3 of that is from last year.
Well, I've heard about 4 million, but where did the other 300,000 come from?
I think people are rounding, Councilor. It's 4.3.
4.3. Well, you know, a couple $100,000 here or there becomes serious money for some of us. So you go out and bond 10 million or the 4.3 million, what's our free cash going to be?
Free cash will be certified as of June 30th, whatever we have left over at that point in time.
We'll have, oh. So we have, for the rest of the year, what you're saying is no matter what, we have no free cash.
Correct.
So any department overruns their budget, where's that money going to come from? Stabilization fund?
There are two places it can come from, Councilor. One is stabilization.
All right.
The other one is internally within the departments. The past few years, we've been capable of doing, I think, just about all of them out of the interdepartment transfers throughout the city. I don't think we touched free cash and stabilization in past year.
No.
So that's what we're looking at.
Because the thing that worries me every time I pick up the paper, I see the state is going to be cutting this and cutting that. And Councilor Clancy and I talked about it, is they may even cut the reimbursement on the SPED for out-of-district money. And you're talking about $1.5 million. If we have no free cash and we only have $3 million in stabilization, we start wanting to spend it for hither and yonder, what's going to happen? I'm sure, Mr. Mayor, come May or June, you won't say to the school department, you've got to come up with it because they only have a month left. Or next year's budget. They'll already have set their budget.
I think Councilor Clancy's talking about next year losing that 50/50 reimbursement for out-of-district tuition. This year here, we're guaranteed getting back, I think it was 90%. The feds are coming up with the 90%. There's like a 10% amount there that we're not getting for the last 2 quarters of this particular year, but we're going to be making that up internally.
6 months ago, I felt sure that we were going to get all our normal reimbursement.
Well, you're right.
Changed. So
you're absolutely right,
in 4 or
Council.
5 months, who knows what's going to happen, especially
You're
if
right.
the recession continues on. That's a major concern of mine in next year's budget.
Well, I think it's everybody's concern.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. President.
Councilor Evangelist?
Thank you, Mr. President. Tom, if you could, when did you realize that you were short the money, when you forgot to do the bonding? Did you know that like 10 months ago, 12 months ago?
January.
January of this year?
Correct.
Oh, okay. And so when you borrow the other 10 million, will you replenish that free cash account? Is that what you plan on doing? You just forgot to borrow the 4 million, correct? 4.3 million.
Once we borrow the $4.3 million, it wipes out that deficit.
Okay.
Okay, it sounds sort of strange to borrow money to wipe out a deficit, but that's what it is.
Then what does that bring us to in free cash? Back to zero or back up to where
It
we're
would
at?
bring us to 1.3 if it were today.
Okay. All right. So after we get that money, which, when, June? June 30th?
You will never get it.
Okay,
Problem
so-
being is, because of the way the structure is set up, June 30th, the next time we can go in for free cash certification. That's for the next year. So
Okay.
fiscal year '04 is the next time you'll see free cash. Now, in talking to the auditor and doing some calculations, we believe we can get free cash by next October.
So we're not going to see this money until then?
You're not going to have any
Okay.
money to spend that.
All right, thank you.
Councilor Pope?
Thank you, Mr. President. This might be a rather simplistic question, but how can you forget to borrow money that was approved? I know you said it was lost in the VAX, but the VAX is run by people. What happened here?
I'm not sure. I know that when I went in, and I've given several councilors here copies of the facts as I pulled it off in April, and it shows you exactly how much it was to be borrowed. And then I pulled it off again in January when I was notified, and it shows you a different. The expenditures were not in the system in April. Now, either the people spent it, department heads, from April to June, which is a lot of expenditure to take place, or it was not put into the system. I don't know.
But we are going to check into that to make sure nothing like this happens again.
Actually, we put a thing in place so it won't happen again. The ideal situation is that the auditor and I met, and we've decided that we'll meet, go over what needs to be done, and then we'll restrict the department heads from spending. So it can't happen again, I don't believe, with the place in place. Also, the auditor was capable of coming up with a new report, which simplifies the amount of money that's expended. In the back system, we had to take 5 or 6 different numbers and add and subtract them in order to come up with a bottom line number. The new system, we have a report that actually prints out the number that needs to be confirmed.
Thank you.
Councilor Austin?
Thank you, Mr. President. Just to recap, Tom, make sure we're all on the same page. No impact on taxpayers at this point, right? Our bond rating is not affected, though I'm still a little hesitant about that, because we're going to have to publish that each year that we publish, and this year is going to show that we owed money instead of getting free cash back.
Yeah, but the bond, people that we sell our bonds to, and that do not look at this particular free cash number, or have to look at the actual free cash number. And the confusion even more, there's 2, and I think if you read the offering, you know that.
Yep.
And the offering is going to be about $6 million positive. So while the city will show a 3 negative, it will show actually we have a 6 positive. So,
Then, I guess, finally then, to Mr. Mayor, holding the line is going to be extremely important coming the next 2 months of the year, because we don't have that so-called free cash that we can then apply to year-end transfers or any other projects that come up that, in my short history here, is we've seemed to do. We know we have about $1 million snow removal deficit that we're going to have to take out of our $4 million stabilization account. We have a reduction of state funds that you have already encumbered so that the departments do not have access to spend that money already. So we're already squeezing pretty hard. I guess just as a heads up that you're probably well aware of, but you know, it's going to be constant vigilance between now and June 30th so that the departments do not go over and money is transferred between them to cover any potential overages, because I think it's going to be awful difficult to get money out of the stabilization account at the end of this year.
I know that would be very difficult. Just to give you some, to give you a little background, you know, I have to say we've been starting, in fact, today was the first day we started our budget hearings, and the 3 departments that came in, I made it very clear that they're going to have to stay within their budget as far as transferring internally. and Barbara giving out the reports on a monthly basis. You see a very low deficit in various accounts. We feel pretty confident we can make those up internally without any transfers from stabilization. And as far as the $600,000 were shot in mid-year from the state, those monies have been encumbered. They have not been touched to this point. Barbara's watching those very closely, as Tom and I are also. So unforeseen anything happening, other than the snow and ice account, we know that'll be $1 million plus in deficit. And how we take care of that, either with stabilization, free cash at the time, hopefully we have it certified, or on the recap sheet. So we're watching everything we possibly can, and there's no guarantees in life, but we feel pretty confident that we'll stay under where we're supposed to be.
Any other comments from the council? At that point, we'll accept them, I'll make a motion to accept the mayor's letter. All those in favor? All those opposed? Carries. Councilor Page.
Yeah, Mr. President, sorry for jumping the gun. That's that old military training. Shoot first. Do a count afterward. Anyway, Mr. President, I would like to
We're asking
request...
to suspend the rules.
Suspend the rules.
Motion is made and seconded that Councilor Page suspends the rules for what? Just so you give us a...
Yes. Request information from the city solicitor concerning rent control.
Motion is made and seconded to suspend the rules for Councilor Page. All those in favor? All those opposed? Carries. Okay, go ahead. All those in favor, please stand. Oh, I'm sorry, does not carry. I'm sorry. I thought Mark voted in favor of it. Thank you very much. Item number 39.
Order number 039905 regarding the reappointment of Michael Farrow, caretaker, Soldiers and Sailors' Graves. Recommendation of Personnel Committee was to approve 3-0.
Councilor Pope.
Move to recommendation of committee.
Motion is made to move committee's recommendation. All those in favor? All those opposed? Carries. Item number 40.
Order 9908 regarding the reappointment of Henry Pacific as a plumbing inspector for a 3-year term. Recommendation of Personnel Committee was to approve 3-0.
Councilor Pope.
Move to recommendation of committee.
Motion is made and seconded to approve. All those in favor? All those opposed? Carries. 41.
Order 0837 regarding the reappointment of Pamela Wilderman to the Historic District Commission for a 3-year term. Recommendation of Personnel Committee to approve 3-0.
Move to recommendation
Motion
of
is made and
committee.
seconded to move committee's recommendation. All those in favor? All those opposed? Carries. 43.
Orders 9907 reappointing of John Peltier of Fence View. Recommendation,
It's 42, I'm sorry.
it's okay. John Peltier as the Fence View. Recommendation of Personnel Committee was to approve 3-0.
Move to recommendation of committee.
Motion is made and seconded to approve committee's recommendation. All those in favor? All those opposed? Carries. 43.
Order 9818 regarding the reappointment of Paul Junter as an alternate member of the ZBA for a 3-year term. Recommendation of Personnel is to approve 3-0.
Move to recommendation of committee.
Motion is made and seconded to approve the committee's recommendation. All those in favor? All those opposed? Carries. 44.
Order 9836, the reappointment of Richard Wilcox to the Historical Commission for a 3-year term. Recommendation of Personnel Committee to approve 3-0.
Move to recommendation of
Motion is
committee.
made and seconded to approve. All those in favor? All those opposed? Carries. 45.
Order 9838, reappoint Diane Plummer to the City Scholarship Committee, 2-0, and Deborah Vigin and Greta Holland to the City Scholarship Committee for 3-year terms. Recommendation Personnel was to approve 3-0.
Move to recommendation of committee.
Motion is seconded to move the committee's recommendation. All those in favor? All those opposed?
Mr. President, have the record show that I abstained from the Diane Plummer vote.
Motion is, just make sure that, all those in favor? All those opposed? Carries. 46.
9937, appointing Janice Lindsay to the Library Board of Trustees for the term to expire February 3rd of '06. Recommendation of Personnel Committee was to approve 3-0.
Move to recommendation of
Motion
committee.
is made and seconded to move committee's recommendation. All those in favor? All those opposed? Carries. 47.
Order 9938 regarding the appointment of Dennis Demers to the Conservation Commission, term to expire 3/5/04. Recommendation of Personnel Committee to approve 3-0.
Move to recommendation of committee.
Motion is made and seconded to move committee's recommendation. All those in favor? All those opposed? Carries. 48.
Order 9904, reappoint Daniel Verrico to the Library Board of Trustees for a 3-year term. Recommendation of Personnel Committee was to approve 3-0.
Move to recommendation of committee.
Motion is made and seconded to move the committee's recommendation. All those in favor? All those opposed? Carries. 49.
Order 9819, reappoint Susan Faniff to the Cable Trust Board of Directors for a 3-year term. The committee noted that this may be a mayoral-only appointment and has referred it back to the mayor's office.
Just accept and place on file, please.
Motion is made and seconded to accept and place on file. All those in favor? All those opposed? Carries.
Motion to adjourn?
Motion is made and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor? All those opposed? Carries. Thank you.